Alright folks, we're back here on the front lawn, otherwise known as the garage. Anyway. Today we're finishing a job that I started a few days ago that I haven't recorded jack shit on because I work a lot, not on cars, mostly just my own. I have a 9 to 5, or actually it's a 9-hour shift every day at a nursing home in the kitchen, but only leaves me a little bit of time during the week to either do stuff I want to do, try to make money on the side, working on cars, fixing my own piece of crap because it has to pass emissions, and because someone poorly installed a 600 watt amp and I have 2 SCAR 12s that need to be used. So anyway, here we are. So I've redone some of the power wires. This one goes to the amplifier, and this one goes all the way up to the front to the fuse box, and then from there right to the alternator and starter. So that's all 1-aught gauge, this crap here. Now I'm going to upgrade the grounds because I hadn't. This is the factory ground from battery to chassis, and it's not terrible. It's actually still in really good condition. I'm going to keep this, but I have more 1-aught and some nice copper connectors. And where'd that battery terminal go? Oh, it's on the ground. I basically put a different battery terminal on this side so I could fit more stuff on there easier, and then this one is the original one from this side, which I'm now putting on this side on account of I don't feel like uncrimping this, and it doesn't have any bolt connections on it. So that being said, this is a ground wire coming off my amp. I got to replace this too because this is kind of sketchy looking, but it is what it is. It worked. So we got the nice fancy wire here. I'm gonna replace that. That'll be the one going from right here. And we have another couple of feet to run from here to the alternator frame, or the chassis of the alternator itself. And then from there, I'll probably run one more to the front of the frame just to make sure there's a clean ground from, back to front. Because these cobalts here, these Chevy cobalts, have a trunk battery, which is actually fine, especially for a sound system setup, and considering how little room is in the engine bay on these things. Anyway, rambling on. This is a SCAR pre-built 2x12. I think they're SDRs. It's the 1200 watt, slightly lesser quality version. I think I paid like $500 for the kit, which was a 1200 watt amp, a bunch of wiring, and then the two 12s in a box. I was going to put them in my Oldsmobile Cutlass, but that thing doesn't run currently on account of it needs a whole new ground wiring setup itself, and this thing is on the road and I drive it every day, and when I got it, it had an amplifier pre-installed. Let's take a peek at that thing. Some Amazon special power base amp. There's a lot of these things. They all look the same, but they all have different sizes, different model outputs, whatever. This is a 600 watt, I believe, 400 RMS, which those 12s are able to take probably 2,000, but I actually might end up even getting a smaller box and selling one of those, or deleting one of them and putting like a passive radiator in there, just because this might even be too much power draw with both of those. Still haven't quite worked out the kinks yet. This thing overheats like a sumbitch. Mostly on the head unit side, not the output side. So I don't know if this amp specifically, just like the power rail maybe is over here, but I feel like it's just something's not right with the gain and everything, or maybe the speakers are just on bad wires and drawing too much power. So today, like I said, we're adding the new ground wire from the back to the front, and then the door speakers, I got to replace the wires going to those because they look a little crusty. The rear speakers and those are getting swapped for tweeters too today, but those are all new wires, so I don't think those are the issue. But I just know it gets very hot very quick with very minimal gain. So I know a lot of the head units, you have to kind of tune them down to like maybe 50 to 75% and then tweak your amp up, but even then this amp's on like maybe 25% gain, and it still overheats. So something's not right. I'm hoping once I fix the ground wiring, it won't overheat, because then or the ground wiring and the speaker wiring, so once I fix those, maybe it won't overheat. If it's still overheating, then obviously I'm either hitting a battery limit or the alternator. So I also want to check my charging system to make sure I haven't been overstressing it running this thing, because I know I did blow an alternator and a battery out of this thing not too long ago, before I started learning about amplifiers and realizing how badly set up this one was. The scars weren't in there initially. It was just a regular 4 set of speakers in here, some Kenwoods or whatever. Kickers, but it blew all of those out. So it is a 4 ohm or a 2 ohm stable amplifier, but you can bridge them to mono at 4 ohms. And these the scars come set to 1 ohm, so I had to take it apart and rewire it to 4 ohm. So those should be doing good too. But I think my internal speaker, the rear deck speakers, the 6x9s or 5x9s in there, I might have to get rid of those or something. I don't know. We're working out the kinks here. So once I get all those wires swapped out, we'll give it a little test. I'll run the head unit kind of lower and see if bringing up the gain on this, maybe, I'm guessing it's just bottlenecking from the head unit. So maybe if I bring the gain up on this and just run the head unit at like 50%, maybe that'll be better. But anyway, let me get back to you when I got some more wiring done. We're back at the back of the car. All right, so I got my new little ground wire splice set up here. See, we deleted the old one. I'll hang on to this for, like, I don't know, something later. Who knows? Might end up needing it. It's still a good chunk of wire. I just don't need it here. Because it's fucking, you know, from 2006 or 7. Possibly even older than that. Because, you know, they're using old stock when they build these cars new. GM quality. They run, though. Who cares what it looks like? But anyway, nice thick ground wire here. We got them teed off. This one's running up to the alternator. I'll show you that in a second. That's the one going to the amplifier now. I swapped it out from my sketchy, this thing. So this was just a bunch of like house gauge wiring that I tied together. It was like 5 strands of thick copper house gauge wire. To be fair, this was probably fine, but you know, it just doesn't feel right since I have real wire. So anyway, we got that set up, so that's all good. Now this is some, I don't know what it is, some sort of watt meter, amperage, continuity tester for maybe for the battery or for the ground on the system. I don't know what it's plugged into. I don't feel like looking up what it does. I'm just hoping that changing this wire out and just putting this right back where it was isn't a problem, because it was just electrical taped on the other wire. So it's in the same spot. The wire's roughly the same length. I assume it's going to be fine. I'm pretty sure it's just checking continuity or something. So if problems arise, we'll burn that bridge when we cross it. Anyway, that's all good. I'm going to plug these in. But got some cardboard here on either side of the battery to make sure it can't slide around and have that positive terminal smack into something. And I usually have like a piece of cloth or something here too, just to make sure nothing can bump. But yeah, let's walk around to the front. Alright, pulled the air box off. I got my wires running through a little hole in the firewall there. If you're a Cobalt owner, that's probably the easiest spot to do it. Here we go, there's that. You can see I had brand new power wires going from the alternator to the starter over to here. So those are all brand new too. And now we got this lovely ground wire running straight back to the battery, right to the frame of the alternator. And I cleaned up that bolt really good and the face of the alternator really good. I sanded the whole length of the bolt all the way down and the tip of it to make sure it's contacting really good in the threads and in the casing. So that should be fine. I torqued it down really good. I think that should be good. I do have a custom flipped air box on this stupid thing. You know, normally it hooks down into there, but I flipped it upside down to kind of assist with the old hood scoop there. I'm hoping the wind will actually, you know, ram air on a stock Cobalt. I'm going to do 13s plus 5 seconds. Anyway, I'm going to put this back together and we're going to crank it and make sure the stereo works, make sure nothing immediately catches on fire, which I know it won't. And then I'm going to have to start testing the stereo and see if I get any overheating again. And I will come back to you with maybe a little demo. Alright, we're back. There's a tweeter hastily installed there and there. Ignore the single bolt holding the trim piece in. Ignore the exposed wires. That's fine. That's fine. Oh yeah, ignore all that because this isn't a show car. But anyway, I did clean it up as best as I could. You know, all things considered, that subwoofer, if you're wondering that if you can fit a set of SCAR 12s in a box back here, the answer is yeah. You just have to bring it through the front. You have to push the seat all the way forward. Preferably take it out would probably make your life easier, but I didn't feel like that. So I jammed it through here, and then I had to hang on the roof and with both feet kick it to get it into the trunk with all the interior and everything removed back there. You see how bare it was. And then I had to get in the other side, turn it around, and then I was able to kick it back in between the shock towers, and it perfectly fits. The shock towers actually hold it in place pretty well. They're not even mounted. They're just, yeah, they hold it in place. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, anyway, wiring's upgraded now. Should be a little better. That ground wire was pretty sketchy that I had before. Plus, you can see I zip tied some of those big wires there, so they're not getting pulled on at all, because I do flip this seat up sometimes, although it is just bare floor under there. And maybe a little fuel pump access, but we don't talk about these things. If you know, you know. So anyway, I only have one CD in here, and the local radio is bad, but we'll see what can pop up. I can't hook my phone up to the thing because I'm recording, so... Anyway, I do have to fire it up because I don't trust running this without it running. Ignore the high idle, it'll drop. I cleaned the throttle on this thing, and I didn't know you couldn't touch the blade on an electric throttle body. So Cobalt owners beware, if you want to clean your throttle body, turn the car off, unplug the battery, disconnect the throttle body, take the throttle body off, actually, because it would just be so much easier just to do that, because the car doesn't know you've unplugged it once you turn the car off. If you touch it with it plugged in, it throws off your throttle position. So I've been chasing bad idle and lean codes for the last couple of days, and now I have an evap leak that I need to figure out as well, unrelated. But anyway, mi little shift boot. I wish this was a manual. I drive it like one. This is 1 to 2, this is 2 to 3, and this is 3 to 4. It's basically a semi-automatic. This is your sport mode, you know. First gear revs up to friggin' $5,000 for no reason. I love trying to stress my torque converter. Anyway, let's see. We got Dream On, ending. I turned up the gain. Well, I turned this down to like 25%, and then I bumped the gain back there, so hopefully it sounds okay now. Okay, it's definitely clearer with those tweeters, that's for sure. I just gotta, I want to make sure that amp don't start heating up too quick, but I need something a little more bass than that.
1-800 since the
Alright, I'm gonna bump the gain a little more because I don't think that's working. Well, I'll play with this for a minute and I'll come back to you. Oh, I found the bass song at least. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I figured we'd clip at some point. How hot is it, though? It's warm. I wouldn't say that's hot yet. But again, it only heats up on this side, and I don't know what's up with that. Maybe I gotta raise the gain a little more. I don't know. I'm not good at tuning this crap, so I would welcome any comments. Any comments that would tell me how to tune this crap would be nice, because I'm getting tired of AI-generated Google responses on the internet. Anyway, And you too could install a crappy sound system in your Cobalt, or any other vehicle for that matter. Some are easier or harder depending on how little or much you care about what people think about you and or what your car looks like. See, me personally, I have fun with what I can have fun with. I don't really give a crap what anybody else thinks. It doesn't really matter because it doesn't affect me and it shouldn't affect them either. So, at the end of the day, if you're having fun with your shitty sound system and your stock head unit, I don't even know how that works. I think you're supposed to have some sort of LOC connector connected. I don't know if it's in the dash from the last guy that set this up or what. One of these days I'll pull that out and get a proper head unit, but today's not that day because I don't have that kind of money. All the stuff you saw in this video was just laying around. I bought it a year or two ago for some project because some dickhead convinced me it was a good idea. Ended up wasting my money. Traded the amplifier for that RAM in the back. So, I mean, that was a pretty good deal. And now I just wanted to do something with them. I mean, why buy something if you're not going to at least try to use it, you know? Like, I could have sold those speakers off. And like I said, might still sell off the one of the subs and just get a smaller box or a passive radiator. Just because that might be a little too much for this, because unless I'm looking to buy a high output alternator and a fancy battery, which is going to run me like $800, which technically now I could. I'm pretty sure I'm set up for that now with the gauge wiring I have. So hey, maybe that'll be an option later if I have a little extra money and I want to play with. For right now, I'm just going to continue tuning this as I would normally and hope I can not overheat my amplifier as quickly as I was and just be able to blast music on the way home from work and, you know, crank it in traffic to fucking make people turn heads. You know, with the old hood scoop I got on this thing and the dang old side pipe cherry bomb. You know, I get a lot of attention with this thing, you believe it or not. Crazy, like people freak out on the side of the streets. They think it's an SS or something, which it's not an SS. It's an RS.